Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining today's webinar. I'm Nicole Sienna, the VP of Studio for Red Cloud Financial Services, and I'm going to be your moderator today for today's event with Culpeo Minerals. I'm joined here with Max Tousley. He's Managing Director for the company. Hi, Max.
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Just a reminder for everyone in our audience today, there is a chat function on your screen. Please feel free to type in your questions as we go along the presentation today. We'll get to all of those after the company's presentation. So all that being said, Max, I'll hand it over to you and I'll let you take the stage.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in today and giving me the opportunity to give everyone an overview of Culpeo Minerals. We are just about to start our phase 2 drilling program in Chile, so I'd like to run through a little bit of information about the company, run through our Lana Corina project, and also talk about a couple of our other projects in Chile. Just your normal disclaimer there, competent person statements, which cover the information that we're going through in today's presentation. So what I'd like to talk about straight away is our Lana Corina project in Chile, which is our flagship project. This project is located in the coastal belt of Chile, which is where Culpeo Minerals is focused. We like the coastal belt. The coastal belt is underexplored. It's also very close to a lot of infrastructure. So the map on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the Lana Corina project there. 40 kilometres south of Lana Corina, you can see the Quelon project. These projects are about 300 kilometres north of Santiago, as I mentioned, in areas of lots of infrastructure, bitumen roads, power facilities, near the coast, so the ability to get the production to ports. So when we do get into production, obviously the coastal belt is also very well mineralised. A lot of already existing copper and gold projects in the vicinity of both Lana Corina and Quelon. So Lana Corina is a project that we acquired about 6 months ago. This project is geologically, it's composed of surface outcropping breccia pipe, hosted copper mineralisation, as well as your deeper porphyry copper molybdenum style mineralisation. You can see there some of the results of the maiden drilling program, where we've hit significant copper mineralisation, quite shallow, 104 metres at 0.74, 73 ppm moly, 257 metres at 0.95% copper, 81 ppm moly, 173 metres at 1.05% copper and 50 ppm moly. So some very significant wide intersections coming back from that phase 1 drilling program at Lana Corina. We've also identified 13 additional geophysical targets within the Lana Corina tenements as well. So going forward, we're about to start our phase 2 drilling program at Lana Corina. We'll be targeting both that high-grade mineralisation that we've already discovered and extensions of that mineralisation, as well as drilling some of these other near-surface targets that we have identified. As I mentioned, 40 kilometres south of Lana Corina is the Quelon project. That is getting ready for the drilling stage. We've done quite a bit of geophysics and geochemistry there, and a couple of very exciting targets at Quelon. A bit further to the north, we have our third project, Las Patacas, which is an IOCG target, and that is just south of the very large Candelaria IOCG mine owned by Lundin Mining. So, in general, Culpeo, we're certainly focused on areas that are near infrastructure, low altitude, and close to operating copper mines. Our board and management has a proven discovery, development, and lots of experience in the capital markets. We anticipate quite a bit of strong upcoming news flow, particularly from the phase 2 drilling program at Lana Corina, and I'll talk about it shortly. But we've recently extended our funding, and we're well funded for the phase 2 drilling program at Lana Corina. Just a quick overview of the capital structure of the company. As I mentioned, we're in the process of raising an additional 2.14 million from a mixture of capital raise and also an entitlement offer. We've had firm bids for the capital raise, so coming out of this funding scenario, we'll be well positioned to undertake that drilling program at Lana Corina. In fact, the drill rig has arrived on site today in Chile, so I expect to be able to update the markets pretty quickly on the results of that drilling program. Just a quick overview of our board. Obviously, myself as managing director, I'm a geologist. I've had quite a bit of experience in copper exploration, both in Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Africa, and obviously Chile. Obviously looking forward to being part of this new discovery in Chile that we have made at Lana Corina. Our chairman, Jeff McNamara, also a geologist. He has substantial experience both in project management as a geologist and also in the private equity markets, particularly in the US. He's also a joint co-founder of Tesoro Resources, Tesoro Gold, which are also operating in Chile. Zeph Reeves is another director of the company. He's also a geologist. He's got quite a lot of experience in Chile, both with Tesoro, who he is currently the managing director with, and a couple of other companies in Chile. Paul Smead, a mining engineer, substantial experience in Australia and also in Africa, where he's VP Corporate Development on a very large recent gold discovery there. And we also have two women who are our joint company secretaries, Shannon Coates and Sarah Wilson, very well respected secretaries from Western Australia. So the board is, quite dynamic, quite young, lots of experience over that exploration, project development, and equity market. So sets us up pretty well. Just people probably ask why would you invest in Culpeo? As I mentioned, we're focused on the coastal belt of Chile, looking at high-grade copper moly deposits, particularly at Lana Corina. Quellon and Las Patacas are also both within the coastal belt. Those projects are IOCG targets. Lana Corina is more of your porphyry, obviously. Management experience, with a lot of experience in Chile, successful track record of discovery, project development, and value creation. We are focused on Chile, which is the #1 copper producer in the world. It's a tier 1 mining jurisdiction, amazing infrastructure, lots of power and workforce available. It's a mining country, so they understand exploration, and they certainly understand the importance of mining. As that's the number one input into their economy. We like copper. The copper fundamentals are very looking very good at the moment with this clean energy transition. Obviously, copper is a big player in that. There's also very limited new copper projects coming online over the next 5 years at least. So we see a real opportunity there, exploring in Chile, looking at these high-grade copper deposits near the coast. I won't dwell on this too much, but obviously I think people out there understand that copper is a major part of this move, this worldwide move to clean energy technologies. Out of all of the technologies that people are investing in, solar, wind, electric vehicles, bioenergy, copper is the main ingredient. You're also looking at, these renewable energy systems require up to 12 times more copper compared to your older traditional energy systems. Copper in electric vehicles, it's a very major part of the whole electrical, vehicle technology. So copper's looking very good, long term. Just looking at the supply gap, I mean, there's going to be a requirement for 15 million tonnes of additional copper by 2035. As I mentioned before, not a lot of new mines coming online, and obviously the grade of what's being mined is decreasing over time. So, Culpeo is well positioned going forward. We're targeting that sort of 0.8 to 1% copper, high grade, open cuttable resources in Chile, the #1 copper producer. As I mentioned, Chile is a fantastic place to explore. It ranks the highest for attracting investment in Latin America, being the #1 copper producer. Interestingly, the government in Chile has just announced a series of investment incentives, including a 5-year royalty exemption for new copper mining projects. So Chile understands the importance of the mining industry in their country. They also understand the importance of in copper going forward. So just back to the Lana Corina project. Lana Corina, as I mentioned, is a high-grade copper deposit. It consists of outcropping breccia pipes that have been exploited on the surface and exploited with a little bit of traditional underground mining. About 1 million tonnes produced at some very good grades, 1.5 to 2% copper. As I spoke about at the start of the presentation, we've just completed our maiden drilling program at Lana Corina, and you can see there those results that I mentioned before. Some very wide intersections of good grade copper, very consistent over those wide intervals. So Lana Corina really does stand out from some of the other sort of porphyry copper deposits that have been explored and discovered recently in Chile. Lana Corina is about double the grade of some of these compared to some of these other deposits. We're also seeing a significant amount of molybdenum associated with the copper, which is quite valuable as a byproduct when we do get into those production scenarios going forward. What we're also seeing at Lana Corina, below the outcropping breccia pipe style mineralisation, we're seeing your more traditional porphyry mineralisation. We're seeing a lot of molybdenum and rhenium at depth associated with that deeper intrusive, and obviously that opens up the exploration potential at depth at Lana Corina. Interestingly, a recently completed geophysical survey has identified 13 additional near surface targets at Lana Corina also. And currently we have mineralisation defined over about a 500 by 400 metre area on the surface, and at least 400 metres deep, open at depth, open to the south, and also open to the west. So obviously going forward, that'll be the focus of the next round of drilling, to explore some of that potential and basically double the size of the mineralised footprint at Lana Corina. Just to give people a feel for, what the mineralisation does look like at Lana Corina, you can see there's some of the high-grade mineralisation that has come back from hole 2 in the phase 1 drilling program. You'll also notice below that high-grade mineralisation in the slide there what the breccia hosted mineralisation does look like, and then on the right hand side of the slide you'll see some of the deeper high grade copper associated with your K feldspar alteration and some of that deeper porphyry potential, as well as the significant amounts of molybdenum we are seeing in some of the deeper parts of the ore system there. We're getting up to sort of 1500 ppm molybdenum in places, which is basically the equivalent of 0.7, 0.8% copper. So the moly is certainly significant, particularly in those deeper, higher grade parts of the ore body. Just capping off on what I spoke about before with these additional breccia pipes that do outcrop, and they do appear to be very close to the surface. We did have some success in the phase 1 drilling program at identifying a fourth breccia pipe. Traditionally at Lana Corina there was 3 known breccia pipes that outcropped, and we drilled a fourth breccia pipe in an area that we thought was prospective based on the geophysics in the area of the T3 anomaly. What we're seeing at Lana Corina with the alteration is magnetite destructive. So when we did the ground magnetic survey over Lana Corina, one of the targets that we were looking for was areas where that magnetite has been depleted from the rocks near the Lana Corina system, and that's the basis of the 13 additional targets in the Lana Corina vicinity. They're magnetic lows. T3 was a magnetic low. We drilled that anomaly, and we successfully hit some significant mineralisation that you can see on that section there, hosted within breccias near the surface, and then also a higher grade mineralisation over 1% at depth below those breccias in hole 5. So just to give you an overview of the 13 additional targets, you can see there on the right-hand side of the slide, there's the areas of that mag low that surround the initial Lana Corina deposit itself. So that's really given us an opportunity to explore mineralisation that is at least 1,000 metres along strike, 400 to 500 metres wide, and some very obvious potential there based on the ground magnetic survey, looking for similar styles of outcropping breccia pipe mineralisation that we have discovered to date at Lana Corina. We've recently just undertaken some surface geological mapping while we're waiting to begin the phase 2 drilling program, and this mapping has really shown the potential on the surface outside of what we've drilled already. We've discovered quite a lot of outcropping breccia style mineralisation and alteration away from what we previously drilled, and it's in line with what we saw in the geophysics. So a lot of those magnetic lows that we saw in the geophysics, when we go there and inspect the area, we've discovered breccia outcropping on the surface. We've also discovered quite a bit of oxide copper mineralisation associated with those breccias. So that will be the focus of the phase 2 drilling program, is to go back and drill the extensions of the known mineralisation at Lana Corina. We will test some of these near surface breccia pipe style mineralisation anomalies, and we will also drill the deeper part of that system that's still open at Lana Corina. So that's the focus of the phase 2 drilling program. I just want to talk a little bit about the Quelon project. As I mentioned before, Quelon's about 40 kilometres south of Lana Corina. This is an exciting project. It's never been previously drilled. There's a lot of outcropping copper mineralisation there, and there has been some historical artisanal mining. It looks like the mineralisation is your iron oxide copper gold style mineralisation. There was a recently discovery just 7 kilometres to the east of us called El Españo. That project's about 120 million tonne at 0.7% copper and 0.25 grams per tonne gold. So we're expecting that the Quelon project will obviously have a lot of opportunities there to discover similar style mineralisation. On the right hand side of the picture there is some of the results from our recent geophysical surveys at Quelon. We've identified quite a large IP anomaly at our Anico prospect. When we've also gone back into that area and we've done some surface geochemistry, and we've located quite a lot of high-grade outcropping copper mineralisation that appears to be very much related to that IP anomaly. Our geophysical consultants have also started to work up some of the 3D responses from that IP work, and you can see that on the left-hand side of the slide. We're seeing a very obvious IP anomaly, approximately about 150 metres below the surface, and obviously just below where we're seeing that copper mineralisation in the geochemistry from our sampling on the surface and our geological mapping. So this is a pretty exciting future drilling project for us, and given the fact that it's only 40 kilometres south of Lana Corina, we will take the rig down there and we plan to drill this target either before the end of the year or early next year. So Quelon is certainly shaping up as a pretty significant second project for us. The third project I'd like to talk about today is Las Patacas. Las Patacas is located about 300 kilometres north of Lana Corina. It's close to the regional town of Coquimbo, and as I mentioned at the start of the presentation, our project Las Patacas is only 15 kilometres south of the very large Candelaria copper deposit. Candelaria is an IOCG project. It's hosted within the Atacama Fault Zone, which is a significant fault structure in Chile. The Atacama Fault Zone does host quite a number of very large copper deposits, particularly IOCG deposits in the northern part of Chile. The Las Patacas project also sits within the Atacama Fault Zone. We see a lot of similar structural controls on mineralisation at Las Patacas. We also see the same host stratigraphy that hosts Candelaria within our concessions at Las Patacas. So we have drilled some holes at Las Patacas, and we've hit some pretty reasonable copper numbers there. 14 metres at 0.73% copper, 6 metres at 0.58% copper. We're also seeing quite a bit of gold associated with the copper, and the mineralisation at Las Patacas is currently outcropping on the surface along a strike length of about 6 kilometres. So we've really only drilled about 1 kilometre of that. We've also undertaken some geophysics, both gradient array IP and ground magnetics. We've located a very large 400 metre by 200 metre IOCG target based on the ground magnetic survey. So we're at this stage, we've gone back to Las Patacas. We are continuing with our geological mapping, and we hope to be back at Las Patacas in 2023, following up on some of these pretty interesting geophysical targets that we have established there at that project. Finally, just to give people an idea of the upcoming news flow, as I mentioned, we're pretty excited about the phase 2 drilling program at Lana Corina. That drilling will start this week. The rig is on site. We're looking at an initial 5,000 metre program there, which will take us to the end of the year. And then, given the success of that project, we'll move into phase 3 in 2023. We hoped, as I mentioned, to get down to Quelon and drill that IP target there at Anico, which will be following up the IP in geochemistry there. And if that's successful, we'll move into the phase 2 drilling program at Quelon. We are mapping at Las Patacas at the moment. We're looking at establishing some drill pads there in the next few months, and hopefully drilling those IOCG targets at Las Patacas in early next year. So that's where we're going to focus the funding that we've recently been allocated. Lots of drilling, lots of geology, lots of assay results coming back to the lab over the next few months. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Max. That was an awesome presentation. I did mention earlier that we have the live chat here, so we do have some questions from the audience. Just a reminder to anybody who is still on the line, you can keep submitting some questions and we'll get to them if we have some time by the end of the presentation here. So the first question here is, can you clarify how much of Lana Corina Project you own and what terms need to be satisfied to get to the next stage of ownership?
Yeah, okay. Look, at this stage, we've got the right to earn 80% of Lana Corina. So the first stage of that earning is a 20% earning, which we are about to complete. So we're almost at that 20% stage. So that was based on us undertaking $1 million worth of drilling, which we have done in the phase 1 drilling program. The phase 2 drilling program, which will be about the same expense, that will take us to 50% ownership of the project. And then after that, there's some ongoing commitments to get us to that 80%.
Great. Now, the company has 5,000 meters of drilling planned. Which areas are these expected to target? And do you plan to continue delineating T3 or test other targets on the property?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, as I mentioned, the focus is expanding that footprint at Lana Corina. Currently, it's sort of 500 by 400. We're looking at doubling that footprint of mineralisation. So the drilling will focus on what we've already discovered to date, which will include T3, but it will also focus on those additional geophysical targets that we have identified. So it'll be both of those areas, as well as at least drilling 1 or 2 holes into that deeper, high-grade copper molybdenum mineralisation at depth.
Okay. Now, you talked a little bit about Quailon. Drilling is also planned there. What is the status of the permits on that project?
Yep. Well, Quailon is another earn-in joint venture for us. We already have 10% of Quailon, and we're earning in to 85%. So that there's the projects or the concessions are fully granted. We just need to do the work to meet those commitments over the next couple of years, and the drilling program will be a big part of that.
Sure. Now, this question just came in too, and I think it's a good kind of final question as we start to wrap up here. But key catalysts, outlining your short to medium term, what key catalyst does the company have on its radar for, let's say, the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, look, the focus for us is Lana Corina. Lana Corina is an advanced project. As I mentioned, we're very happy with the results that we have got from Lana Corina. We drilled 9 holes there, 7 of which have come back with those very wide intersections of high grade copper and moly. We really want to advance Lana Corina. We want to double the size of that mineralized footprint, and then start to think about moving into sort of a resource definition phase of what we're doing at Lana Corina. And having projects like Quailon 40 kilometers to the south, which got some significant upside, that's a very nice second project to have. And obviously the potential at Las Butacas, given the vicinity of where the project is situated, close to some of these large IOCG deposits, we would like to get back there in the next year as well.
Great. Well, thank you again, Max, for joining us today and being part of our webinar. Thanks to everyone in the live audience for coming online for the presentation today. Just a reminder, replays will be available shortly, so stay tuned. Our Red Cloud webinar series will continue on Wednesday when Taylor Combaluzier sits down with Grid Metals at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you check that out. Until then, head over to redcloudfs.com for the full webinar schedule, more exclusive content, including our RCTVs and podcast episodes, and details about our upcoming fall mining showcase happening in Toronto this coming November. So that's all good here, Max. Thank you again for joining us, and see everyone online next time.
Thank you, Nicole.